Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rich, your humble yet somewhat joyous independent candidate for governor, and I've decided to post a video here to kind of culminate the day. And what I want to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is kind of sum up what has been something of probably a year-long experience that started last fall when I crossed paths with our former mayor going in and out of the Rite Aid, and what kicked off what has now been a year-long, just absolute circus of nonsense, including numerous threats against my life and misconduct of astronomical proportions. But what I wanted to basically do was show folks that uh, the situation with me crossing paths with the mayor notwithstanding, um, what we have had going on recently, I want to basically highlight here with this email. Now, I want everybody to take close attention or pay close attention to the date. Okay, this email I sent to our local councilwoman in August after a number of violent and uh, just basically property damage, drunken, hooligan related events culminating in someone getting run over by another person they started a fight with in the street out in front of my house. So I sent her this very pleasant and cordial email asking for public safety improvements in light of the fact that the Rite Aid was going to close next door and it was just going to double the amount of nonsense that's been coming out of this place. So last fall kicked off a bunch of uh, serious events, including me potentially getting shot by an individual in front of Panama Joe's, and then culminating last spring in several attacks on my friend's store, which ended up being included on the KCAL 9 News when they did a report about the Long Beach Police Department arresting a pair of youths tied to a string of break ins in the area. This all started at my friend's store while these kids were being allowed to run wild and break into several other places, yet they came back to the store 4 different times. And after my business partner, who I'm no longer in business with, unfortunately, because of this nonsense, and other for reasons that are completely unrelated. If they hadn't put polycarbonate bullet resistant sheeting on their store, they would have been smashed into a third and a fourth time. What happened was, as the videos I posted on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel will show, on the third and fourth occasion, they were throwing tire irons and 4-pound sledges at the front windows and doors, and they were bouncing off. After the fourth attempt, they gave up and went down the street and smashed their way into the Sweet Jill's bakery, which set off a public firestorm, which finally caused the police department to do something. And then they brought in the news to basically cover it all up. They interviewed the manager of my friend's store, and he gave them extensive comments, and they edited everything. He went into detail about how there's been no police down here, how there's been one break-in after another, and nobody's doing anything about it. But of course, KCAL 9 edited all that, but thankfully they at least put Sweet Jill's comments in there, demanding the parents and the kids get arrested. So to kind of boil this down, ladies and gentlemen, it is now November 6th, I believe. So we've had uh, August, September, October, and November. All right, we're looking at 90 days. So if anyone looks over the past 90 days of my Facebook posts, you're going to see that there has been an enormous amount of activity that has occurred in our community and politically and many places beyond that kicked off with this email. Now, I'm going to post this email on my Facebook page to show everyone how this started. This email first began as a cordial message to our local councilwoman. But what I did after I sent it to her, and I'm going to try to demonstrate this, is I then took this same email and I forwarded it in its entirety to none other than sheriff's candidate Alex Villanueva. And in this extension or attachment, I gave him a very clear background explanation on why our local public safety has been in a paralysis and why there's been nothing but crime and shootings and stabbings and all kinds of other nonsense going on around here, which is directly tied to political corruption and the introduction of criminals into the business district that are doing nothing more than laundering money and doing all kinds of other nefarious things, particularly this club, which has had a license to run wild. So after August 13th, shit started getting hot around here. And what happened? I took this same email after I sent it to Sheriff Villanueva. And then I proceeded to send it to all kinds of other people in the community, like the Belmont Shore Business Association, our former city councilwoman Jerry Shipsky, Stephen Downey, the former deputy chief of the LAPD. And we all sat around waiting to see if the councilwoman did anything about it. And of course, she did nothing. So, what ended up happening was I turned around and I sent her another email and I ripped her to pieces for gross negligence. Okay. Let's see if we can actually find this one because I think it's going to be quite entertaining. So, I'm actually going to post both of these on the on my Facebook page because I want people to really see this. So basically, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that and not fiddling with it. So the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, is we had nothing but nonsense going on around here, and this has been going on for like 10 years. Okay, in the last probably 4 or 5, it's been a complete circus coming out of this club with no law enforcement. Now, after I decided to take action, not only has the law enforcement been restored to the point that the district is now starting to get revitalized, and the undesirable criminal element has realized they no longer are comfortable here. What we're seeing now is a return of visitors, and we're seeing an increase in business, and we're seeing people out on the street on the night, at night, on a Friday night or a Saturday night at 11 or 12 o'clock. And there's a great crowd out there, and everybody looks relaxed and they're enjoying themselves. And the police department is out, and they're out in visible places, and they're relaxed and they're enjoying themselves. So, by the way, I brought in a special guest. I'm not going to name him because I don't want YouTube to ban this video because I used this language like they did with my nonsensical band video earlier today. Of course, Dusty's here as well. So I guess I'm going to focus on myself again here, folks. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is our city's been in a twilight zone of just political, just de-evolution. I guess it's the only word I can use. And I decided to take action, okay? And in the course of this, we have almost completely transformed the community in a way that there are many, many people in the community that are very happy. And it isn't just the residents, it's the business owners, it's even the people that are involved in first responding, the law enforcement, the fire department. And so now here we have it, it has all come around and culminated with all of the events over the past week. And I just want everybody to understand that I'm just one person. And even though I've been dealing with a monstrous amount of nonsense here, I've been able to corral all of this and literally corner all these people. Okay. I've not only been able to restore public safety in our community, I've in a sense started to revitalize our business district by just restoring the norm of trying to bring back our college crowd and make the place inviting and safe and clean so that the visitors want to come back. And it's taken just an astronomical amount of effort. But here we are. We're on the verge of the holiday season. I'm daily encouraging the LBPD because I'm so happy to see them around, and I'm so happy to see them just basically being able to do their job and hang around and talk to the folks. Occasionally have to deal with emergencies, but yeah, they're people, and I'm happy to have them around. So I'm just trying to wrap this all up here by saying that if everybody tried to just pay attention and help a little bit, we would all just be moving forward at light speed. And whatever happens with all of this nonsense involving our political clowns, uh, look at the general direction we're heading in here. Okay, I think that the ripple effect of calling these people to task is hopefully going to have the same general effect far beyond and hopefully all the way to Sacramento. Okay, because I want to hold these law enforcement people to task for violating massive laws, conspiring to do all kinds of terrible things, and they need to be held accountable for it. And if they fall legally, then that they brought it on themselves. And frankly, if it positively affects the outcome of the election, where people that are operating in good faith and are honest and are honorable and are trying to do the same thing I am, clean up the system and get us back on a good and steady course, I say that's great, because I'm not in this for money. I'm in this to clean up the process. I'm not campaigning for glory or influence or money. I'm campaigning so that it's a fair game for everybody. And if it's a fair game for everybody, then maybe I'll have a shot at actually having a good life again, and I'll consider that a victory. And if I then have to go sue the shit out of everybody so I have a decent lifestyle, well, you know what? I think that's just desserts. So I just want everyone to know that, as frustrated as I may sound right now, I think that things are really coming along quite well. And I just wanted to sort of encapsulate all that for everyone so you can understand that, you know, gosh, I just want to brighten my teeth and I just want to have a healthy life and a good lifestyle. But that's kind of besides the fact. So um, we're moving forward, folks. We're on a steady course towards just, slow and steady improvements. And things might get dramatic here, politically speaking. Who knows? There's this huge scandal brewing. I mean, the NFL is going to sooner or later be held to task for this stuff. So is Disney. So are all of these corrupt politicians. I mean, all of this scamming and scheming and all of the victims. We'll just leave it at that. It's not just going to go away. So it's all going to come out. But I think, for the most part, the folks here in Long Beach, I think, are pretty much numb to it all, and they want to see justice too. Everybody I've talked to, that I tell them, hey, I'm involved to clean up the campaign. I want liberals, conservatives, whoever you are, if you got the best ideas and the people think that you're the best person for the job, then you should win. And everybody is telling me, yeah, we think it's time for that. We agree. And so this is the theme here, and it works and it's necessary. So I'm going to keep at it, and hopefully, my sort of objectives will resonate, and we'll finally start getting somewhere here. It's a long way until the election starts, but frankly, excuse me, until the primaries or whatever. Frankly, in my opinion, we don't need the election to change things. Okay, we when these people forfeit, when they violate their oath of office and they no longer uphold your constitutional rights, they have forfeited their right to exercise that authority. And they literally need to be told to leave. And if they refuse to leave, they need to be forced to leave under the color of authority. They need to be prosecuted and put in prison. Okay. We don't need an election to get rid of these people. Okay. If the majority of the people tell them you got to go, particularly when they're breaking the law. All right. It's not like a political thing here, folks. You got to understand that. This is crime. This is just crime. It has nothing to do with politics. When there's so much crime going on, we got to pull the plug. We got to all just say enough is enough. So I hope somehow we're leading in that direction. So yeah, I'm excited because frankly, Captain Crunch was on sale for $2. He sells the Cinnamon Life, and I'm gonna set myself into a cereal laced coma with Dusty here, and I'm gonna hopefully have a much better day tomorrow. So we're actually really moving along here, and there's been a lot of good change, and I'm actually sort of stunned by it all. But I want everyone to know that if we can all just kind of clear the air and clear the field and let the best people compete on the field of ideas, I think we can really move our whole state forward, you know. So I'm still saying Bianco for governor. I'd be proud to be his lieutenant. I think I'd be quite enthusiastic and capable. I am completely capable of being the governor. Considering what we've had, I think I would be levels above these people. And I'm not boasting. It's just common sense is necessary here, and some patience and some compassion. By the way, I love everybody out there, and I hope that you all get my sentiments and my optimism, and we all have a great holiday season. I'm still optimistic. Great things can happen here, and we'll see. So, best wishes to everyone. Bye.